Back?
We're back, and we're jacketless now.
Yes.
Appropriately dressed.
Yes.
Spring's here. Spring has sprung. It's like crazy. It's the end of the college season, or the beginning of the playoffs. But youth, we went over youth last week. Still deep, just really kicking off the youth season, getting into our stride. And then at the very beginning of the PLL season this weekend.
Yeah, opening weekend.
Salt Lake City.
Heading to Salt Lake City. I'm not sure how quickly we're going to turn this around, but heading out there Thursday, games Friday, Saturday.
Delta flight?
Yep. Yeah. But it's going to be certainly a unique weekend with a lot of players playing in the NCAA tournament. Every guy that was drafted in the first round, except for Mikey Weishire from Towson, all seven are going to be in the tournament. Coincidentally, Boston, who Weishire got drafted to, they actually have a bye this weekend, so we won't see any of the first round, either due to NCAA commitments or just the Cannons having kind of their bye weekend. I think when you look at things, though, Utah, they show up. Like these fans get behind the Archers. Utah really embraces that community, and it's a big weekend for them in terms of having two games with a little bit of a rotating cast in terms from a roster perspective, and both of those games are league in conference games. So, and then they have a bye, and then the league takes off for Memorial Day. Right, so the cavalry's kind of coming for Utah. I think for them, can they just hold serve? Right, can they go 1-1? I think would be a realistic. If we come out of this 1-1, we're feeling pretty good about kind of setting up the trajectory for the rest of our season.
And this is a Redwoods team that's feeling great after everything they did with Anthony Kelly last year, even into the Sixes Champ Series. They're feeling like they got some mojo, so they got them first. And then they've got the Denver Outlaws next, which is, again, a little bit of a, or not a little bit, they were in the championship game last year, right there at the end, and return a lot of those key pieces. Although they'll be missing a few heavy hitters in this first weekend.
For Redwoods, I'm looking, Dylan Malloy at attack. That's a big boy. He's going to have a big boy matchup, whether it's with Woodward or Lavelle. All right. And then you got McAdory in the midfield. I mean,
fastest human alive.
The kid's just kind of shot out of he's got lightning in his feet. Just such a joy to watch. So I think those two guys specifically, I'm super excited. And then fast forwarding, to that second game against the Outlaws, McNaney, right? In his kind of second season, he came in last year, won goalie of the year in his rookie season. Those clean saves that he's able to make and kind of getting out in transition, that's the recipe kind of for them. And then Jesse Bernhard retiring, right? Does McNaney become a little bit more of a vocal presence? Does he kind of take a little bit more kind of the leadership mantle there? They still have JT Giles Harris, Manley coming back in defense. They picked up Ben Randall, so they'll still be solid.
So grizzled veteran D, we'll call it. Manley's a little bit younger than me, and Randall's been around for a while. I mean,
he covered me. He's
very good. He's very good. But that's a JT Giles Harris is even getting up there now, and so a lot of experience on that.
Then you look at kind of the other two matchups: New York Atlas versus Carolina Chaos. The storyline here is Stephen Brooks, head coach of Carolina, was on the Atlas sideline last year. When they won the championship. And oh, by the way, in that championship, Xander Dixon, suffers just a gruesome injury. He's back, and
seems like he's right back in the mix. Great to see.
It's great to see, and you tip your cap to him in terms of kind of what he went through this past offseason. He was on the sideline for the championship series as a coach for the Atlas, but it's just so great on a humanistic level, right? To see somebody kind of battle back, from an injury. So I'm super excited about watching him play, and I'm super excited to see what Coach Brooks does.
Really a revamp. They got the whole new staff. They got a couple new big pieces, and they're
their defense has always been their defense, right?
They got counter and net,
so what do they do?
They'll be okay.
What tinkering do they do, kind of offensively? I think is kind of most intriguing. And then the last matchup, Philadelphia Water Dogs versus Maryland Whipsnakes. Quarterfinal rematch of last year. The Dogs won 14-12 the ageless wonder, Kieran McCardle, those 2 late goals.
I didn't know which ageless wonder you were going with. Maybe I thought Pinnell was the other ageless wonder. I saw him this spring, looked good as ever.
And he is chasing the all-time points record.
Yeah, which I didn't realize both those guys were right up there. I mean, Pinnell, 22 points away, I think, from the top record, right?
Yeah.
So he's like right there. McCardle is working his way up. I think he'd have to get a couple more years under his belt to get there.
But Pinnell, like realistically, like that is within range.
22 points in one season. He should be there for sure.
And
maybe this weekend.
And
couple two bombs.
Former teammate though this weekend.
Casey Powell, yeah.
Yes.
So
So
McCardle, I think, is two points away from CP, which they played together on the launch.
And then for Philly, the big offseason, free agent pickup, Gavin Adler, that was kind of maybe the biggest ever in terms of free agent pickups and potential impact. He joins the Water Dogs, joins Michael Sowers. The only guy that could cover Michael Sowers was Gavin Adler. So like it like has a compounding effect. You get the defensive player of the year, and then you remove the one guy from a team that can seemingly cover him. So I'm super excited to see those two in action. And for Maryland, we talked about Pinnell, but for me, it's really kind of their next gen offense in terms of. Obviously Pinnell and Rambo, kind of older guys, Brad Smith, older guy, TJ Malone, Aiden Carroll, and Matt Brandau. TJ Malone was rookie of the year a couple of years ago. He was top 10 in points. Aiden Carroll was second in rookie points last year, and it really has had a strong kind of offseason. And then Matt Brandau, he led midfielders to goals.
Yeah, he's a under the radar kind of consistently stellar A+ guy.
You just kind of look at the stats. You're like, Matt Brandau led all midfielders in goals. It's like, yeah, he did. Yeah. So there's a little bit of a changing the guard in terms of Maryland offensively. So, early season, we lived this. It's all about kind of roster manipulation, and I think the other thing is the guys that are the holdovers, right, from year to year, and then will be there from this roster iteration to the next. You have to be a leader.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and guys that maybe aren't traditionally the leaders of the team because those guys are either playing in the NLL or banged up or whatever it is. But yeah, there's always that that second tier of maybe the leaders but not a captain or something that holds on from the beginning all the way through.
They've got to step up.
They've got to set that standard.
And then the last thing is those guys that are getting their chance. What do they do with those chances, right?
This is how teammates of ours, this is a throwback to the MLL days, and actually a guy just called me on Sunday. We've been trading voicemails, but Ethan Vetter was a guy that every year...
this guy gets more airtime.
Every year, when the NLL was going on, he lived out west and would play for the Denver Outlaws, would play in a couple games, and every year was right on the verge of locking in that spot. But it's tough as those guys come back from the NLL or now joined from college. But it is an opportunity for guys to lock in and potentially earn a spot that they never relinquish.
Yeah, so there'll be a short list of guys that I kind of have my eye on. Like Mikey Bain is a good one, for example, for Redwoods on that left-hand side. If he puts up some numbers here, over this course of the weeks while other guys are kind of doing other things, does he kind of stay in the lineup? And there's a few guys that have kind of that kind of opportunity, and you just got to shoot your shot, find your role, and then give them a reason where they can't take you out of the lineup, right? Be productive enough where it's am I going to take this guy out? He did this, and this in these games that we played. So...
Well, and we talked about part of the reason why some of these guys, I'm looking at this list, you look at this Atlas Carolina Chaos game, you got Baptiste, Eli Gobrecht,
it's all Seals, baby.
Kelleher's on the other side, but a lot of NLL players on the Seals. We have the semifinals going on, and both of those series are now going to multiple games. And we'll talk a little bit about, you watched both the Seals and Rock games, one win for each team.
Yeah, I think looking at that, the first game went down to the wire. The second game was more.
But by the way, 3 of the 4 top seeds lost in the first round. So a unique we talked about this. You only get one game in the first round. It's you got to show up, and because of that, you have one off night and all of a sudden you're bounced out of the playoffs. Is that the best way to do it? Do you do 3 games and make it the better team wins? Or do you do the more prepared team wins and you make it 1 game?
Yeah, I feel like for the Seals in terms of history, it's worked both ways, you know.
And
where it's
controversy even this year in that first game with the
yeah.
Who is the first player to touch the ball after the ball comes?
We're not
to the
going
crease?
there. We've
Yeah.
already.
It's passed. It's over.
It's passed. It's over. We're now in game 3 against Rock, and now we're down to another 1 game series.
Right.
You know, where you think about, you got to start with goalie play, right? I think that's where you kind of lean on, like, who's the hot goalie, who's the most consistent, who's been in the big moments, right? And then, like, what are your knowns? You know, you look at the Seals in terms of, like, the production from Westberg, Leclerc specifically, Courier, those guys kind of stepping up. But Toronto and their youth, like, you know, it's like,
CJ Curtis for chance, no big deal.
There's
Just pass or shoot with the wrong hand.
Young teams, you know, and they have some veterans like Matthews, but like and Challen Rogers, but sometimes when you're young and dumb, it's like you don't know any better. But
and Nick Rose does always seem to find a way in the big moments to rise up.
Not now, not this time.
All right, so you're calling your Seals.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're heading to the championship.
And then the other side, the Halifax Thunderbirds versus the Georgia Swarm. They had 1 game, and now we'll play a second game. Halifax won, I believe it was 11-7, 11-6. Now they'll head to Halifax to play game 2. However, despite the Swarm being the 4 seed, that third game is also going to be in Halifax because they just could not find an arena for game 3.
Yeah.
Tough for the Georgia fans.
Tough for the Georgia fans. Tough for the Georgia players.
And the Nest is not an easy place to play. I haven't personally gotten the opportunity to play there, but I mean that place gets rocking.
Yeah.
The momentum. They got the anchors away or going something away, haul away, hail away. They got a good song.
In these scenarios, I wonder if those little like micro things galvanize a team. Right, like if you're Georgia,
that's bulletin board material.
It's like that
right there.
extra little bit of motivation, where it's like we don't care when we play. We don't care that this is like supposedly working against us. Like if you're the better team, you show up and you get the job done.
And to be honest, winning in a barn like that, sometimes that's more fun than winning at home. Like shutting up a giant packed crowd. Is there much better than that?
No.
But they still got to win game 1. Game 2 to force that game 3. So they gotta get that.
They're 1-3. We got 2 out of 3 in the books.
So either way, both the finalists will be crowned this weekend, and then just lax. We move on to the college game. We're doing a little office pool, and you are going to make the ESPN compliance officer smile. You had to bow out because you can't. You can't gamble on the college lacrosse or any lacrosse for that matter, any sports, I don't think.
You have your stupid team winning?
Of course I do. So now we're gonna get your picks just on the air.
You just lost by like 10. Where's your outfit?
If my bracket goes according to plan, we'll see you back in the championship for the third round. Okay.
All right.
I did just see him purchase some gloves.
Good. A promise is a promise. We keep our promises.
Hey, we keep
our promises in this household.
We've made some bets, and actually, I don't know if you ever wore your bear costume down in spring break training.
No, he did it.
I did it here after. I wasn't with you. I didn't have it.
All right. It was like 95 degrees in Florida.
Streams wore
it. It was soaked. Soaked to the bone. Let's talk about Princeton Marist, Stony Brook. Do you like the unknown of playing a play-in game opponent, right? Princeton won't know who they're playing. Do you think that's actually helpful? Because it's like, hey, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're going to focus on us, and then Thursday, Friday, we'll put in the scout. Or do you like having the whole week to prepare?
Well, I've never known the play didn't exist.
Right. Well, exactly.
It is what it is. I think that it kind of gives you some like midweek juice. You're focused on yourself, and then you're obviously watching the game, and then as soon as the game's over, you're like, okay, let's go. Like,
Yeah,
let's
do you
let's
think they'll
dive
watch
into
that
this.
together as a team?
I think so. I
It's
would.
kind of a cool.
You know,
atmosphere.
from a coaching staff perspective, are you like? I would say you're probably loosely preparing for both. You know, not doing maybe a full dive, but
Just understanding
Yeah,
what
like-
their offenses look like.
Yeah,
Whether they 10-man, that kind of
but-
basic stuff.
But I think this is kind of like round one is kind of all about us, you know, and I think, you know, keeping the momentum from the Ivy League tournament is going to be, you know, absolutely critical. I think, I mean, look, they played about as well as any team has played in the country, right? I mean, that game, I think
Unfortunately, yeah, I do know.
they executed in kind of all phases and all facets. And I think when that team shows up, you know, is there another team that has the skill to match that? And I think that's what they kind of put the tournament on notice, was just kind of like, if we're at our best, is anybody else as good as this?
And I would argue the only team that maybe is kind of showing that trajectory is UVA, who has been on an absolute tear. And maybe it's just because they keep playing UNC, and UNC, for whatever reason, seems to get them going. But UVA versus Georgetown, Virginia 5-0 against Georgetown. I cannot see Georgetown overcoming UVA the way they're playing right now.
They've settled things in goal, right? The Millen brothers are absolutely on fire.
Yeah.
Sunderland is just the perfect kind of role player, more than a role player, but like he totally kind of
Finds the gaps that Millen fires him through.
Yes, I mean, he just kind of understands this super high IQ, just understanding kind of the flow of the game. You know, classic UVA, like, wow, they've got a pole that like is disruptive offensively.
Oh, he's 6'8" and 240 pounds. Like all their defenders.
It's like weird. Like UVA's got this
Yeah.
kid again. It's like, you know, truly, it's hilarious in terms of the long lineage. Hoyas is it same old, you know? It's like, can they get past round one? Can they get past the quarters? It's kind of like until you do it.
We gotta give a shout out to our boys at Army. Actually, I was
Yes.
trading texts with Coach George Alice this week.
Yeah.
He is nice enough. My high school coach at Severna Park has a player from Severna Park that is now deployed overseas for Operation Fury, and Army is going to send him a signed Army jersey. So pretty cool, kind of connecting those dots. But it's going to be a split decision for me. Penn State, Coach Tambroni, Jimmy, Coach George Alice at Army. That's going to be a great matchup.
Who are you rooting for?
That's tough. I think I got to go with Coach Tambroni.
Okay.
But it's going to be a great game. I think that you like a lot of these teams, like Penn State, when they play at their best, one of the best teams in the country. When they play at their worst, they could lose to anyone.
They're going to either win by 10 or lose by 10.
I think that's what we're looking at here in this game.
Yeah. I mean, my rooting interest will be for Army for 1 week and 1 week only.
Darby Boyle.
Yeah, my dad went there, class of '69, and then Coach Alberici was the assistant coach of Team USA. When I was there, he actually recruited me to Duke when he was the OC there, but played for him for Team USA. So,
And 1 week only because the winner, obviously.
In theory, if Princeton takes care of business and Army wins, then we would match up. So my rooting interest for Army will be 1 week and 1 week only.
And the other side of the quarterfinals is back at Short Stadium. Where's the Princeton side?
Yeah, the other side of the bracket's at Delaware, which is I can't remember the last time they hosted.
Great stadium though.
Yeah,
Beautiful
I can't remember the last time
stadium.
they hosted. I mean, Hofstra is
Hofstra's been there for a while. Cornell,
great.
Richmond last year. I was there for that, and then Princeton, Cuse immediately following. Those were two great games. Perfect day.
and like for whatever reason that stadium seems to like bring out like epic quarterfinal games.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like I don't know what it is. It's like there's some like magic to it.
Even back to like the Albany, the Thompson brother Albany versus Notre Dame game.
Just like stuff happens. there.
There's magic to Short Stadium for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I played there. I remember playing there. It was a great crowd.
For the quarterfinals?
Yeah,
you did?
yeah,
Ah.
yeah. We played against Loyola 1 year. I have to look at, and we played Hofstra often in terms of the regular
Right.
season. So, and we played there obviously for many years. NLL, just great
It's like the
atmosphere.
beating heart of lacrosse, right
Just
there in the middle of Long Island.
It's just great. You miss a turn, you gotta take 20 minutes to get back to it. It's just unbelievable.
15 loops.
Notre Dame versus Bobby Moe and Jacksonville playing game.
What do you?
Shout
Bob Moe
out-
Jacksonville.
Shout out Jacksonville, first time in the.
I did not realize that.
Yeah, So John Galloway, is just doing a great job down there, in building that program really from the ground up. So, great to see them kind of finally punch their ticket. And
I just saw the Bobby Moe game-winning goal against LIU. You seen that?
Yeah.
Bar down. Whew.
Yeah.
That was with 1.8 seconds left. I'm like, that's a dream in the backyard.
Hard to
right there.
picture either of those teams.
Knocking off Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a tall task.
Okay.
How about between RMU and Jacksonville? Who you like?
Just because of the connection, Galloway, I'm going
I'm going
Jacksonville.
Dolphins. Yeah, same here.
Okay.
UNC Albany. Do you think Silas Richmond and the Dogs can knock off
I think this will.
the Tar Heels?
I think this will come down to does Wambach just win every single face-off?
Yeah.
Is Owen Duffy healthy?
Yeah, right. Because he got banged up in that
And
championship.
then what does Carolina get in Cage? Between Marcus is like he's had some issues, he's had some struggles this season. So does Richmond, does Albany, do they get enough possessions really to kind of push and test that defense? Because I think you've seen teams, i.e. Virginia, put up a number against Carolina, but if Wambach just is winning every single face-off, if Duffy's healthy between him and Petramala, are they just playing make it take it lacrosse? Or does Albany kind of get enough shots, enough kind of bites at the apple to make this a game? Richmond and Duke, what do you got?
This is my sleeper pick for the
This is
the upset.
every.
It's not a sleeper pick, but
this
yeah,
is-
I mean everyone's like, yeah, Richmond got a tough draw here because Duke is Duke. They always find a way towards the back half of the season to get it done. They had to do it one time. They had to beat UNC or they were not making the tournament, and they did that. Can they keep that momentum rolling? I watched them play against Cornell. They're good. None of their middies blew me away as like guys that could just run by guys, which I think Richmond has some of those guys that can just run by guys.
Yeah, Richmond's just so sound defensively.
Yeah.
I think like that's where you just look. I think you look at the body of work from a Richmond perspective, just kind of all season long. They've just been so consistent, and I think that they are hearing. If I'm head coach Dan Chamati, I am pumping my locker room full of every one of these ding dongs that is just like Duke. It's like what? Like
Yeah, they've been number one in the country for a long time this year.
We've been like arguably the most consistent team nationally, and all of a sudden we're gonna like fall apart. We're not like so. If I were him, I would have speakers in the locker room just pumping in people picking Duke over them.
Cuse Yale.
Cuse.
Do you think Cuse is going to fold?
I think
Under the pressure of Andy Shea and the Yale Bulldogs?
so. Yale came on.
Sneaky. They always make it a game.
They came on late this season. I think that there is so much riding on this Cuse senior class, and I think that their legacy of like bringing the program back. I think that anything less than championship weekend would be like devastating.
Yeah.
I think that like
Does that
self-inflicted pressure.
I was just saying,
and they've
does
been-
that help them, motivate them, or do they crumble because of that? I think.
You look at how experienced they are versus Yale being so young, and this is where I kind of just lean on the team that's just a little bit more experienced, a little bit hungrier, understanding this is their kind of final and last gasp, versus a team that's like just happy to be there, which is always dangerous.
Right.
It's
Nothing to
always-
lose. Nothing to lose there.
Those teams are scary because they don't know any better, but also there's that like human nature of like, oh, we'll be back next year, and whereas Cuse, like, they know this is it. This is their time. They've got to make it happen.
Yeah. And then of course
I thought what?
Cornell Hop. We never talked about Cornell Hopkins.
Must
You don't
wait.
care. You don't care.
I don't.
You're rooting for Hopkins? Is that what you're saying? So you've been texting Coach Milliman? Go Jays. 1, 2, 3, 4. We want more. Is that what's going on here? I think.
I've got this game as a tie. Neither
Both teams lose.
Well, we talked about this almost every game.
Neither
like,
team
right?
advances.
Like face-offs, goaltending,
Yeah.
and then some offensive threats. When
Yeah.
Cornell, those three things, when Cascadin is feeling it, when
Yeah.
Tully's feeling it, and when Goldstein and Firth are working together, they're very, very good. if one of those things is off, it can really throw them off kilter. I think they have like
I like the Staub kid you got defensively.
Brendan Staub's very good, can spark a little transition. But I think those things sometimes, if they're all working, they're all working. If one is off, it's like a misfiring engine, and it just doesn't come together. Like with some of these other teams, I think you could not have one of those pieces and be like, okay, we can make up for it elsewhere. I think Cornell needs all three engines to be firing.
Okay.
Success.
What worries you about Hop?
I think goaltending is obviously strong. They've got weapons, and I think they're also hungry. Haven't been there in a while. Got to get the name back. Like the Hopkins fans are expecting to bring it back to championship weekend. So I think there is a lack of hunger where it's like, hey, we won last year. Obviously, we want to get back there. We know what it takes, but that's hard. It's hard to repeat unless you really come reloaded for Bear.
I hope you enjoy your tie.
It's impossible, right?
All right.
There we go. We got PLL, NLL, and NCAA Lacrosse. It's a big weekend. Get out there and watch some. What time are you going to be on the airwaves? Thursday night?
No, Friday night.
Friday night.
These are all times Eastern. 8 and 10:30.
It's going to be a late one for you. You're going to be asleep in the booth. Hopefully that's a tight game.
And then I'll be fine. And then Saturday, 4:30 and 7.
Nice.
Again,
That's
all
a nice
times
schedule.
Eastern. All games available on the app on ESPN Plus, and then Saturday at 7 is on the Deuce.
ESPN too.
Yeah, be on the Deuce, and then in terms of NCAA games, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, right?
Yeah, I think it's 4 games Saturday, 4 games Sunday.
And then
NLL, I believe, is both games are Saturday with a Sunday third game if necessary. 6 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Eastern. Man, you could park yourself in front of the TV from noon until midnight. Actually, you could really start at 8 p.m. Eastern Friday night. You got to take a quick break for breakfast. From 12 to 12 a.m. on Friday, Saturday morning until 12 noon. Yeah, that's your only break of the day, and then you're right back at it all the way through 10 p.m.